Здравствуйте. Hello and welcome to Russian language class. Let's quickly revise some of the topics we have done in the previous lesson. So far, we have learned three cases in Russian language. Nominative case, which denotes the subject, and then we have learned the prepositional case, which denotes the location or the object of thought, and the third case that we have learned is the accusative case, which denotes the direct objects. So, I have written a sentence here. Вчера мы встретили всех новых студентов в аудитории. Вчера мы встретили. Yesterday we met всех, all the new students in the hall. So, here as you can see there are three parts broadly. I mean the verb has three parts. The first is кто. So, the first part, which is мы, this answer the question кто, who has done this action. So, who is the performer of this action. So, мы is we. So, here мы answers the question кто. Кто, when we answer the question кто, it has to be used, the noun has to be used in the nominative case. So, here the subject is мы. So, it answers the question кто. The next is встретили кого. Кого is whom. When we answer кого, we use the direct object. And what is the direct object in this sentence? Всех новых студентов. Всех is from the determinative pronoun все, новых is from the adjective, and студент is the animate noun. Всех новых студентов. So, this phrase, noun phrase answers the question кого, which means the direct object. The next question or interrogative word is где. В аудитории, where. So, this action was performed in the hall. So, three parts of the same sentence there. The first one answers who performed the action, the second one answers on what the action was performed, and the third question answers where the action was performed. So, this is about the three cases that we have learned so far. The first one was nominative case, where we answer the question кто. The second one was the locative or prepositional case, which answers the question где, and the third one was the accusative case of nouns, which answers the question кого. So, let us move on to the topics that we are going to learn today. Now, we will learn the conjugation of some verbs with the suffix va. These are peculiar verbs because while conjugating these verbs, we follow a different pattern. So, let us look at the conjugation of these verbs. The first verb I have taken is давать. Давать is to give, and it is an imperfective aspect of the verb. Вставать, the second verb that we have taken is вставать. Вставать is to get up. As you can see, it has, after you remove this ending the and soft sign, it has the suffix va. Here also you will notice the suffix va, and the third verb is преподавать. Преподавать is to teach. Again it also has the suffix va. So, what happens when we come across the verbs with the suffix va? How do we conjugate these verbs? So, what we do is we drop this suffix while conjugating these verbs, and the forms in the conjugation will follow the same ye conjugation. So, all these verbs belong to the first conjugation of verbs, which is ye conjugation. So, let us look at the conjugations of давать, вставать and преподавать. Я даю. So, as you can see, we have dropped the suffix va and conjugated it as the other ye conjugation verbs. Ya dayu, yavstayu. Here also we have dropped va. Ya pripadayu, ya dayu, yavstayu, ya pripadayu. I give, I get up, and I teach. So, in all these forms you can notice that this va has been dropped, and that is how we have conjugated with the first person singular number ya. The next is second person singular number ti. So, how do we conjugate these verbs with ti? Ti dayosh, you give. Ti vstayosh, you get up. Ti pripadayosh, you teach. With third person singular number on, ana, ano, this verbs are conjugated as on, ana, dayot, he or she gives. On, ana, vstayot, he or she gets up. And on, ana, pripadayot, he or she teaches. With first person plural number mi, dayom, vstayom, pripadayom. So, these are the forms with first person plural number mi. With second person plural number vi, the vach is conjugated as dayoche, vstayoche, pripadayoche. Dayoche, vstayoche, and pripadayoche. With third person plural number ani, dayut, vstayut, and pripadayut. So, this is how we conjugate the verbs with the suffix va. So, now let us discuss the past tense form of these verbs. So, how do we form the past tense form? It is very simple. We just remove the ending from the infinitive and then add la, la, lo and li at the end. So, if you remove the ending the and soft sign, what remains? Dava, and then I add la, la, lo, li. Daval, davala, davala with o ending, and davali. Similarly, staval, stavala, stavala, and stavali. Pripadaval, pripadavala, pripadavala with o ending, and pripadavali. We have also discussed the compound future tense in Russian language. So, how do we form compound future tense? We use the auxiliary verb быть, and the conjugated form will represent the compound future tense. For example, я буду давать, он будет давать, мы будем давать, вы будете давать, они будут давать. Similarly, я буду вставать, мы будем вставать, ты будешь вставать, вы будете вставать, он, она будет вставать, они будут вставать. Я буду преподавать, ты будешь преподавать, он, она будет преподавать, мы будем преподавать, вы будете преподавать, and они будут преподавать. So, this is about the conjugation of these verbs in the present, past and future tense. So, we will now look at some of the examples where these verbs have been used. We have learned the conjugations of the verbs with the suffix va. Now, let us look at some of the examples where these verbs have been used. So, I have written 3 sentences here where we have used the 3 verbs that we have learned the conjugations of. The first sentence is Каждый день я встаю в 7 часов. Каждый день я встаю в 7 часов. Every day I get up at 7 o'clock. So, here we have used the verb вставать. Вставать is to get up. And as you can see here, we have mentioned the time of action. So, how do we ask the question about the time of action that we have learnt in the previous lesson? Во сколько? So, во сколько вы встаете каждый день? At what time do you get up every day? The next sentence we have is мой друг преподает русский язык в университете. Мой друг преподает ruski язык в университете. My friend teaches Russian language at the university. So here we are using что, преподавать что, to teach what, and when we answer что we use the noun in the accusative case. Где ваш друг преподает русский язык? So if you have to answer the question or interrogative word где, we will use the noun in the prepositional case. В университете. The next sentence we have is каждый день на уроке преподаватель дает домашнее задание. Каждый день на уроке преподаватель дает домашнее задание. So every day in the class the teacher gives homework. Домашнее задание is homework. So here we have used the verb давать. Давать is to give. Каждый день, every day, на уроке. На уроке again here is in the prepositional case because of the preposition, and here it answers the question где. Преподаватель. Преподаватель is in the nominative case, it is the subject in the sentence and it answers the question кто. Дает. This is the action, the verb давать. Что? So here домашнее задание, it answers the question что. So again we have all the three cases here. Каждый день на уроке преподаватель дает домашнее задание. Okay. Apart from the conjugations, we have also discussed about the imperative mood of the verbs. So how do we form the imperative mood from the verbs? So if you have to form the imperative mood from the verbs with the suffix va, how will you do it? So from вставать, the imperative mood that will be derived will be вставай, вставайте. Давай, давайте from the verb давать, and преподавай, преподавайте from преподавать. The next topic we are going to discuss today is the word который. Который in English can be translated as who, that or which. It is basically functions as a conjunction and used in the complex sentences, and it refers to a noun and it is declined as an adjective. So it declines like an adjective because as you can see the ending of который is as an adjective. So it is the adjective ending I and I करात का है. So let us look at the use of the word который in the complex sentences. The first I have written two sentences here. Я знаю студента. Я знаю студента. I know the student. And the next sentence we have is студент живет здесь. The student lives here. I know the student and the student lives here. So what happens when we join these two sentences? As we have already discussed, that который works or functions as a conjunction also in the complex sentences. Я знаю студента, and here for студент we are using который живет здесь, who lives here. So here который is translated as who, and what it functions is it refers to the noun in the principal clause. So я знаю студента, so it is referring to this noun студента, and it takes the form of the noun it is referring to. So here as you can see студент is in the nominative case because it functions as the subject in the sentence. That is why the form of который will be also in the nominative case. Я знаю студента, который живет здесь. The next sentences. Моя подруга пригласила меня. Моя подруга пригласила меня. My friend приглашать and пригласить. Приглашать to invite, which is imperfective aspect, and пригласить is the perfective aspect. to invite. Maya padruga priglasila minya. My friend invited me. Ana uchatsa universitete, and she studies at the university. So these are two sentences in which ana is there in both the sentences, and this ana is referring to the subject of the first sentence, Maya padruga. So how do we join these two sentences using katori? Let's do it. Maya padruga katore uchitsa universitete priglasila minya. So my friend who is studying at the university invited me. So here, as you can see, this katori, the clause with katori, is within the principal clause itself. So the clause with katori can be located or can be situated in the principal clause itself. Maya padruga katore uchitsa universitete priglasila minya. My friend who is studying at the university invited me. So here we are using katoraya. Why? Because as you can see here, this katoraya is referring to ana, which is again in the nominative case, and the gender is feminine gender. So nominative case and feminine gender form of katore is katoraya. Similarly, the neuter gender form would be katoraye and the plural will be katoriye. So these are the forms of katori in the nominative case. Katori for the masculine nouns, katoraya for the feminine nouns, katore for the neuter gender nouns, and katoriye for the plural nouns. So we'll have a look at the neuter and plural gender, plural number in the next part. We have already learned the use of katori with respect to masculine and feminine gender nouns. So now look at the use of katori with respect to the neuter gender noun and the plural nouns in the nominative case. So we are now only discussing the nominative case of katori. Ya ushe chital pismo. I already read the letter. Pismo lishala nastalye. Lishat is to lie. The letter is lying on the table. Ya ushe chital pismo, pismo lishala nastalye. So how do you combine these two sentences using katori? Ya ushe chital pismo, katore lishala nastalye. We are using katore. Why? Because this katore refers to pismo, which is a neuter gender noun. So the neuter gender form of katore is katore. Ya ushe chital pismo, katore lishala nastalye. So I already read the letter which was lying on the table. So let's move on to the plural form of katori in the nominative case. On smotrit na karchini. Smatrich is to look at. Smatrich takes nashto. Look at what? On smotrit na karchini. He is looking at the pictures. Karchini visyat naschinye. Karchini visyat naschinye. Karchini is the pictures are hanging. Visyat is to hang. Naschinye on the wall. On smotritna karchini is looking at the pictures and the pictures are hanging on the wall. So how do we join or combine these two sentences using katori? As you can see, karchini is in the plural form. So karchini is the nominative plural of karchina. On smotritna karchini is looking at the pictures. Katoriye. So here we are using katoriye, which is the plural form of katori in the nominative case. Katoriye visyat naschinye. He is looking at the pictures which are hanging on the wall. So this is how we use the word katori in the nominative case. So we will discuss the use of katori in different cases also, but not now. So let's move on to our next topic. The topic that we are going to discuss now is the short forms of adjectives. So far we have read or discussed the full forms of adjectives. Now we will discuss the short forms of adjectives. The short form of adjectives are used as the predicate in the sentences. Let's find out how do we use the short forms of the adjectives. Это интересный film. Это интересный film. What is интересный? Интересный is interesting. This is an interesting film. So here we are using the full form of the adjective, which is интересный. So here интересный qualifies the noun film, interesting film. Now look at this sentence. Film интересен. Film интересен. So here интересен is used as the predicate of the sentence. The film is interesting. So here we are not using the full form, we are using the short form from the adjective интересный. Film интересен. Это интересная книга. This is an interesting book. Это интересная книга. Книга интересна. Книга интересна. The book is interesting. Again, here интересна has been used as a predicate. Это интересное письмо. This is an interesting letter. Это интересное письмо. Письмо интересно with O ending. So again we are using интересно, which is the short form of the adjective интересный. So as you can notice that интересен has been used if the noun is the masculine, and интересна has been used if the noun is feminine like книга, and интересна with O ending has been used with the nouns of neuter gender. So the short forms of the adjectives, they agree with the noun in gender and number. Number we have not yet seen, we will do it later on. So film интересен, книга интересна and письмо интересно. So short form of adjectives are used as the predicate. So now the question arises, how do we derive the short forms from the full forms? So that we will discuss now. Now let us discuss how do we derive the short forms from the full form of adjectives. So how do we form the short forms from the full forms of adjectives? For example, let us take an adjective новый, which is new. So how do we form the short forms from новый? So the process is very simple. You have to drop the ending of the adjective and add a to make its feminine form, o to make its neuter form, and I to its plural form. And let me mention it that masculine forms do not have any ending. So the moment you dropped I and I kratke, which is the ending, adjective ending, you get the masculine form. So from новый the short forms are нов, нова, нова and новый. Similarly, красивый. So if you drop the adjective ending from красивый, you get красив, which is the masculine form. красива, we are adding a to the masculine form and you get feminine form, and then красива with O ending, and O endings are neuter gender form, and красивый, which is the plural form. So from красивый we get красив, красива, красива and красивый, and красивый is beautiful. So now let us suppose when we drop the ending, we get a cluster of consonant at the end. For example, Karotki. Karotki is short. So what happens when we drop the ending here, e and e kratke? We get a cluster of consonants, t and k. So it becomes very difficult to pronounce the cluster of consonants. To make it easier, what we do is we insert the vowel o between the last consonant and the penultimate consonant. So from Karotki we derive Koratak. Koratak. Koratak is short and it is a masculine form derived from the full form Karotki. And you add a and you get the feminine form. Karatka. Karatka, Koratka and Karatki. Koratka is the neuter form and Karatki is the plural form. So whenever we come across an adjective, after dropping the ending, if you get a cluster of consonant and if the last consonant is k, then we insert the vowel o to get its short forms. So for Karotki, from Karotki we derive Koratak, Karatka, Koratka and Karatki. So now let us discuss another adjective, Izvesni. Izvesni is famous or popular. So again when we drop the ending which is I and E kratke, we come across a cluster of consonants here, Izvesn. So there is a cluster of consonant t and n. So in this case, when the last consonant is n, what we do is we insert either ye or yo. So in Izvesni we are inserting ye to get its masculine form. Izvesen, Izvesen. So what we are doing is we are inserting the vowel ye between the last and the penultimate consonant. So between t and n we are inserting ye to get its masculine form. Feminine form, there is no need to insert any vowel. Why? Because we are adding another vowel at the end. Izvesna. Izvesna with o ending, its neuter form, and Izvesni the plural form. So from Izvesni we derive Izvesen, Izvesna, Izvesna and Izvesni. Another very important thing about short forms is that the adjectives Balshoi, which is big, and Malinki, which is small, they do not have any short forms, Balshoi and Malinki. And the adjective, the short form adjectives Rat, Rada, Rada and Radi, which means happy, they do not have the full form. So there are only short forms for this adjective Rat, Rada, Rada and Radi. So I hope you have understood how do we derive the short forms from the full forms of adjectives. So in this lesson we have discussed the verbs with the suffix va and the word katori, and apart from these things we have also discussed the short forms of adjectives. So this is all we have for today. We will meet in the next class. Till then, spasiba, do svidaniya.